Yo, top of the morning, comrade salute, revolutionary love, revolutionary love. Right, assalamu alaikum to all my Muslim brothers and sisters. Peace be upon all. Paz para vosotros. All right, so this is part two from yesterday's segment about the juvenile and the adolescent experience of being incarcerated and then going into the adult experience. So I left off at Kaksaki, right? But mind you, when I'm doing these segments, at no shape or form am I begging up prison life. No shape or form am I begging up street life. No shape or form am I begging up ignorance or foolishness. I'm just letting you know as far as my experience, what I was going through, what was my understanding at that particular time, where if you could relate to it. And let's say, individuals who are in that age group, perhaps you could pick up something, find something, share it with them. We could reach one person and help, change one individual's way of life. Hey, it's a beautiful thing. That's what it's about. It's not knocking the brotherhood whatsoever. It's about, prison is about doing shit that gets you locked up. It's about the rap sheet, how to clean the rap sheet, how to move forward, things of that nature, right? Social, political, economical. Because mind you, when you're locked up, when you're incarcerated, you're not just incarcerated for the crime itself, all right? It's way beyond that. That's what got you arrested. But when you get sentenced, there's a whole bunch of political shit, social, economic that goes into that. So let me bring it back to Kaksaki, right? So it was before I got cut, right? So this is 1998. And this was still doing the Blood and King War and shit like that inside New State Department of Corrections. So like I said, like one of the twins and one got cut, you know what I mean? Where we was going on the early go back. Not the early go back, but just a go back. And so boom, basically, you know what I mean? I told the people like, listen, even though I just got to the prison, you know what I'm saying? He got cut around me, and I told him, yo, I think I know who did it. Or, no, I didn't say I think I know who did it. I know who, because it was like two dudes, so I was like, while the bro was getting on with one dude, I was looking for the other dude, and I ain't gonna lie, it's nighttime, like, I just seen his face, but he just disappeared and shit, so I'm like, alright. So I told him, like, yo, I seen the second dude, you know what I mean? Boom, so I'm gonna go get the second dude, because, the bro already got it on with the one dude that cut him. So what we passed the gun to, you know what I mean? That was the second dude I was looking for. So boom. So now what happens is, I guess like a week passed or whatever. You know what I mean? I ain't see this dude. Then when I finally see this dude, you know what I mean? It was like the central yard and shit like that. Little yard, you know what I mean? It was like a little yard, had four corners. One corner was Kings, the other corner was like upstate shit, the other corner was some Jamaican shit, and then some regular shit. You had the Bloods like on one side, you had the Kings on one side, then you had like a little Crips on the other side, then you had like the Neutrals, Jamaicans, like, it was a small ass fucking yard. It was really an adolescent jail, but you still had adults there too, you know what I mean? So, adults be schooling us and shit like that. So mind you, all this shit that's going on is really like adult shit, you know what I'm saying? But it's adolescent jail, and I'm an adult now, I'm 18, deacon, all right? So, young adult. So I'm like, all right. So then I had to go through that shit, you know what I mean? Like, fuck it. That was the way of life. You know what I mean? That's the shit you got to go through in there, you know what I mean? Like, if you represent any organization, or even if you not represent organizations, like certain jails, you got to understand, like, just cuttings, the stabbings, people playing for keeps, Some people have fights, some people don't have fights, some people are sore losers, shit like that. You know what I mean? Or, when it's coming like to get the person out the jail, you can't get the person out the jail, and you can't leave the jail, it's just a regular fight. You gotta be some bloodshed, you know what I mean? So basically, make a long story short, you know what I mean? So I already told you it was set up, we was spinning the yard, you know what I mean? Me and cut on one side, other bro was supposed to cut on the other side. Ain't really go down like that, you know what I'm saying? But I did hit the door, boom, I spent off. Mind you, it was supposed to be someone there to pick the shit up from me, so I won't get caught, you know what I mean? Ain't no one next to me. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Ain't no one gonna grab this shit? Like, I'm not getting caught with this shit, you know what I mean? So What I did was I just threw this shit. I just flung this shit right. I mean, in Central, I just flung this shit. Wow. I'm not getting caught with this shit. Boom. You know what I mean? So, next you know, as I'm, you know what I mean, spending this shit, no one told me, yo, watch your back, yo, nothing. It just came from nowhere. Boom, I got knocked from the sideline. Bang. So at the floor, you know what I mean, the glasses and shit, because I had glasses. So the glasses, you know what I mean, fucked up like my top and bottom eye and shit, you know what I mean, shit cut, you know what I mean, cut through the skin. So when I hit the floor, boom, got back up. I mean, Damo just getting on. Police come, break the shit up. Boom, they find out eyes, they put the shit on him because they thought he cut me and shit, you know what I mean? But once they realized it wasn't a cut, you know, but he still put the razor on him. I wasn't gonna be like, that's my razor, fuck out of here, you know what I mean? So boom, I was just like, you know, still quiet, like, yo, you know him? Nope. Now, so they're like, oh, so why y'all fighting? I'm like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because you gotta understand, the newspaper, the news was already saying, you know, a lot of these new gangs, you know what I'm saying? And that's what was happening, wanted to just pop over on people, just to pop off, to get up in there. So I'm like, listen, I don't know. You know what I mean? So boom, make a long story short, boom, they threw me in IPC, right? Involuntary protected custody. That's because there's a difference now, right? You got IPC and PC. Anyone that been in PC, like regular PC, protected custody, they're a snitch. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to give up information in order to go to protected custody. You know what I mean? Involuntary protected custody saying, listen, you're not giving up no names, none of that. So they throw you in involuntary protected custody until they put you in a different facility. You know what I mean? That's when they say, you know what, we're going to put you in here, you know, for your good and for the other person good until we get you out the facility. You know what I mean? That's when you like, you know what, I ain't talking. So boom. All right, cool, I ain't talking, bam, bam. But now the SEALs was still, you know what I mean? Because you got to remember when I told you about, you know, my the gang assault court, you know what I'm saying, Harlem Valley, that's where they sent me to corrections. So that shit's on my dope, you know what I mean, on my jacket. They got it, you know, LK, he has spicy staff, you know what I mean? He's you know, challenge staff, whatever. I don't know every single thing, but I remember, so let me see. So after that, bam, oh, that was a thing, right? So boom, they were supposed to send me to the key block yard, right? I was still key block. And they I don't know what happened, or I know they opened the wrong door. Instead of me going to the key block yard, I went to the regular yard. So when I went to the regular yard, boom, that was it. You know what I'm saying? The older bros was like, all right, cool, I thought, but boom. Now I ain't that. I already had a blast, so I just want to get somebody. I ain't had nothing on me. So they was like, all right, bro. All right, boom. They're like, yo, such right there. So it wasn't the one that blazed me. It was just like, you know, they're like, yo, this one right here, you know what I mean? It's an issue, la. So I said, fuck it, I'm already keep locked, you know what I mean? So, boom, me and him got it on. Then when the SEALs came and broke it up and shit, boom. This is the way I got over the shit. I was like, listen, it's not my fault. Like, y'all put me in the regular yard. If anything, y'all setting me up. You know what I mean? I came from DFY, I'm going through all this shit. I just got cut. You know what I mean? I could have sued the shit out of the fucking state, but I didn't really know about the lawsuits at that time, you know what I mean? But that's the reason why they let me go. You know what I mean? So from there, they was like, all right. You know what I mean? They had to cover themselves like that. Like, if I'm keep locked, you know what I mean? I'm in a whole different segregated area. How the fuck I get into the fucking population yard? See what happens, I mean, put me there, right? So boom. You know what I mean? That charge is like, this is no charge. You know what I mean? Or I remember, yeah, it was no charge because of that shit. But from after that, that's when they was like, you know what? Out the jail. You know what I'm saying? And that's when they sent me to Clinton. Now when I went to Clinton, you know what I'm saying? She was still real. They was like, yo, where you came from? So I would still say I came from DFY because, you know, that's where I was at for most of the years. And I just got to Coxsackie, only stood there for like a few months. You know what I mean? Bam. So from there, like, all right, cool. Then that's when I had the stats on and shit. You know what I mean? That was the first time I had the stats on. I forgot who it was. You know what I'm saying? I remember he was a, yeah, it was a blood dude. Cause it was still the Blood King War and shit like that. You know what I mean? And I ain't gonna lie though. I thought I killed the dude. You know what I mean? I was like, that's when I was shook. I like, shit, I ain't never coming home. You know what I'm saying? Cause I was ready to use the cutting. Now that was the first time, you know what I'm saying, that I actually stabbed someone. You know what I mean? Like, I shot someone before with a machete, but never like no stab. So next thing you know, fucking, I remember that day, like, it was like 98. I mean, I had to hit the nigga in the yard, so I had him. And I mean, I hit him like about like 2 times and shit. I wasn't really trying to kill a nigga and nothing like that. I was just wanted to get I just wanted to get the dude out the fucking prison. Like, they told me to get him out the facility, so you gotta be bloodshed to get him out the facility. So I just hit him up twice. And it was a little, you know what I mean? It was a shame, but it was a shame made out of a spoon, you know what I mean? So just, you know what I mean, your mind, a spoon, you know, made into a little shank. So I just, you know what I mean? He had a coat on, you know, so got the coat, you know what I mean, saved him a little something, but he dropped. So when I mean, I got away with this shit, you know what I mean? So when I went to the motherfucking, I ain't gonna lie, I thought someone was gonna tell, like, you know, someone who was hating, like, you know what I mean? You know, I was going to the board and all that. So, boy, I did this shit, and I'm going to the board, so I'm like, damn, hope nobody tell. So, when I went to the board, you know what I mean, remember, I just came from DL5, boom, just got caught, got into a little bullshit. So, boom, only thing Paul was concerned about was like I said, I could have sued their ass, you know what I mean? Because I wasn't even supposed to be in a max. Coming from DL5, even though I came from a max, even though I had a lot of violence and I had a high classification and all that shit from Rikers Island, Spoff and all that, I was supposed to go to a medium, you know what I'm saying? But they put me in a max, so they fucked up, but you know, I lost that lawsuit. Like, I mean, I had the opportunity to do a lawsuit, but you know, I fucked that up. But because I didn't do the lawsuit, that's how come they let me out. So when they asked me that, they were like, yo, because the first time when I went to parole board and they asked me if I was king, I was like, yo, I'm king for life. Bam, they hit me at the parole board. So, you know, when I told a lot of the adult kings this, you know, the grown ass men and shit like that, mind you, I was in Harlem Valley when I went to the first parole board, you know what I mean? Harlem Valley, they sent us to Green Haven to go to parole. So, you know what I mean? Well, yeah, I went to Green Haven. So Green Haven, you know what I mean, was the one that hit me, bang, yo, you know, we see you doing good, you got your GED, but you still king, so that's why they hit me. Bang. So when I went to the board the second time, they're like, listen, the only thing we concerned about is the king shit. That's it. They ain't care about nothing else. They're like, are you still the king? So that's when they gave me the okay, the green light, and say, listen, man, when it comes to the motherfucking police, the judges, whatever, you can deny it. I was like, word? I thought you couldn't deny it to nobody and shit. So I was like, say no more. You know what I'm saying? Because for the whole juvenile shit, they asked me like, yeah. So I ain't know. So that's when I said, yo, now I'm done. You know what I mean? Like, I'm done. So they're like, all right, cool. So that's how I got my open date. You know what I mean? So, of course, you know what I mean? I'm telling a lot of bros, listen, when I go home, I'm going to do my college shit. I'm going to do my political shit, you know what I'm saying? And I did. You know what I mean? Now, when I came home, mind you, that was during the time, I think Bill Clinton was still the president, and he had just released about 9 Boricua political prisoners, you know what I'm saying? And I remember going to the 106th Street to the Latino Cultural Center, Julio de Burgos, because they had some special thing over there, 98. Signed my name that time, you know, everywhere I was, all the political stuff I was doing, like I was letting them know, listen, yo, Land King. Bam. You know, even though I was Muslim, I was still, like I said, that at the age of 18, that was still like my own person, which is king. Bam. I still wasn't doing like the Islam thing yet. You know what I mean? I just knew I believed in Allah, and that was it. You know what I mean? That God was within. That was the most I took it at that time. So, you know, I was home. You know what I mean? Of course, you know, get shorty pregnant. I mean, as baby moms at the time, you know, we're not even gonna get into that book. Right, not even gonna get into that chapter, but all I know is that, you know, I got a son on the way now, and I mean, stressed out, you know, I was working and shit. Don't get me wrong, like, everything I said when I was incarcerated and I said I was gonna do, when I came home, I did. Like, I told people I was going to college, I went to college. I was going to Bronx Community College, I was working, you know what I mean, in a clothing store, you know what I mean, so boom. But, you know, when I lost my job, because I was working for Goldman Sachs, I was working for DKNY, I was working for NBI Insurance Company. You know, at a young age, I worked for, like, several of these different companies, you know. One thing I could say, like, thanks to the grace of God, like, I always had a job from the age of 18 on, you know what I mean? So, basically, you know what I mean, so I'm working in the clothing store, you know what I mean, I'm going to Bronx Community College, You know what I mean? Got shorty pregnant, so you know what I mean? She's expecting, you know. So now I'm like, all right, I got that in my mind now, you know. So I'm doing me, you know what I mean? I still, you know, see the kings in the hood or whatever, know what I'm doing, you know. I'm still in college, I'm working, la 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 la. You know, Blood of King War is still there, whatever. And what happened? Let me see. All I know is that when I lost my job and shit, I mean, I just did me. And when I said I did me, you know, I mean, did some jokes and shit like that. And then there was some violation and shit. You know, motherfuckers from Isaac and shit like that. You know, and Isaac House used to fuck with his other projects. Wait. Where they got the new New York Sports Club, used to be Ghost Gym. So they used to fuck with the white boys over there. They used to sell ecstasy and shit. I mean, that was their shit over there. You know what I mean? Anyway, you know, Isaac houses, you know what I mean? They violated, like, you know, this queen and a friend or whatever. Like, they was touching their ass and all that. So me as a young dude, when they told me that and shit, bam, I was like, word. So, you know, they gotta feel it. I mean, and when they violate the queen, they gotta feel it. So, boom. I'm a young dude. Now, mind you, I got a baby mom pregnant, you know what I mean? So I should have thought about that first and foremost, you know what I mean? That was my primary concern right there. But at the same time, I had this pride thing, this ego thing. I'm like, yo, one of the sisters got violated by these niggas, so-called gangster niggas, whatever. You know what I mean? Niggas selling drugs in the building or whatever. So, boom, I remember, like, you know what I mean, I was looking for, like, a few kings and shit that day, like, you know, I didn't want no one to come with me because I don't do co-defendants and shit, you know what I'm saying, but I just wanted to get a gap, you know what I mean, so, I remember I went to that school, let's say, by Carver and, Lehman. I went to that school first, you know what I mean, looking for the kings around there, I ain't seen no one. So then I remember going to Park East, you know what I mean, boom, seen one of the little wild ones that, you know what I mean, that we was inspired for together and shit. So he gave me like a little 380 and shit. And, you know, a little 380, you know. Took that little 380 and, I mean, I ain't really like, you know, my intention wasn't really to hit no one. My intention was just like, you know, shoot the area up, scare them up a little something, catch the nigga that I'm looking for, and do what I gotta do. And that's what I did, you know what I mean? Shot the area up. You know, that big crowd that was there, because come on, by myself. So I'm like, that big crowd that was there, that shit Spurs. You know what I mean? I should have had a mask on, you know what I mean? That's the reason I got locked up. But is that I wanted them to know, like, I did it. I wanted them to know, like, listen, you know what I mean? You violated a queen, so this is why I'm doing this, you know what I mean? So I wanted them to know, but I shouldn't have done it. I mean, I was still young, you understand? I was like, what? Just turned 19, you know what I mean? I was incarcerated from the age of 14 to 18, so, you know what I mean? I was still, you know, I was still growing, you know what I mean? Even though I was in college and all that, but I was still learning and shit. I was still growing. So anyway, make a long story short, shot into the crowd, and then, you know what I mean, caught the dude, I pistol whipped him, then I robbed him for everything he had, you know what I mean? Took his money, took his drugs, all that shit. You know what I mean? Told him who did it and all that. And I didn't think these motherfuckers was going to snitch, though. I didn't think they was going to call cops and none of that shit, you know what I mean? So anyway, make a long story short, bomb, like, you know, a few months passed by and shit. And I ended up, you know what I mean, going on a job interview, whatever, boom. You know what I mean? Same day I went on a job interview, same day I got hired. Boom, I got police, you know what I'm saying? I'm on fucking block and shit. Told me I did something a long time ago, which is that dumb shit. And a whole bunch of other shit. When I lost my job, that little segment when I lost my job, you know what I mean? So boom, it was like, all right, we got a whole bunch of unsolved crimes. You know what I mean? We know, you know what I mean? This is your mode of operation, your MO. You know what I mean? So like, all right, whatever. Bang, you know. That's it, I got arrested. You know what I mean? So now I'm 19. You know, baby mom's 7 months pregnant and shit. Yeah, she's 7 months pregnant. And that was it, you know what I mean? At that time, when I got a lot back up now, there was no really Blood King War no more. You know what I'm saying? Now it's just like, whatever house you go to, you know what I mean? They ask me, you out of 5. This, that, and the third, boom. So like, yeah, I'm out of 5, boom, boom. It's me, I'm king, boom, I got knowledge of self. My name is Knowledge, I got knowledge of self. So, you know, I'm building with the gods, I'm building with the Muslims, because, you know what I mean, Muslim and all that. So, it's a little different now, now that I'm 19 and shit. But so, you know, so now, They got me going for different buildings, but don't get me wrong, even though there's no war, but it's still tension, it's still drama, like in houses. Like each house is different. That's how it was. You know what I mean? So each house was different. You still have your little shit you gotta go through, you know what I mean? Because you got a blood phone, king phone. If there was, listen, if you was in a housing unit and there's not a Latino phone, there's not a king phone, there's a whole bunch of other phones, then boom, yes, 9 times out of 10, something's gonna have to happen. So like that, Latinos will get on the phone, and then sure, so kings could get on the phone. So that's just how it was. You know what I mean? So went through that shit. You know what I mean? Make sure Latinos get on the phone. Make sure, you know what I mean, Kings got a phone. Did that shit in HDM, whatever. Then they closed HDM down. And from HDM, you know what I'm saying? Once I went from HDM, I ain't gonna lie, like, you know, my main concern was my son. So a lot of Kings already knew, like, you know what I mean? I was looking at a lot of time and I was thinking about my son. So my shit was like, listen, man, whatever, like, I'm just focusing on my son right now. That's all I give a fuck about. Like, I even told him, like, yo, the only king I'm thinking about right now is the unborn king, and which is my son, you know what I mean? So, boom, so I'm doing that, you know what I mean? Going back and forth to court, you know what I mean? Social service, ACS. That's the only thing I gave a fuck about was being on the phone, talking to baby moms, that was it, you know what I mean? You always kept seeing me, yo, you gave birth, yeah, yo, it's good, la, 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 la. You know what I mean? So if you kept me away from the phone, you know what I mean? If you deny me that, yeah, we was getting popping. You know what I'm saying? All day, I ain't give a fuck about win or lose, but we was getting popping. So, went through that shit. I mean, ACN, that's how it was, House of the Mental. You know what I mean? Because ACM is a max. Like, you cells, that shit looks just like Clinton. Shit looks just like Auburn. You know what I mean? ACM, I guess, was the first jail that was built on Rikers Island. That's why that jail shit was really going down. You know what I mean? So, boom. I was used to that because I'm like, listen, I came from the max, so it was like, fuck, being Rikers Island, but still operating the same way. You know, we got the fucking shit stashed in different places. So I was used to that setting, you know what I mean? But it was don't to say that I like that setting. Nah, no, yo, listen, I don't like jail, period. I don't like prison, like, period. None of that shit. But while you in there, you know what I mean, you gotta make the best of it, right? And then this is the shit. If you part of any organization, this is the shit you're gonna be going through, you know what I mean? Some facilities is, if it's conflict, it's conflict. Sometimes it's conflict within the house. Sometimes the police create this shit. It's all about divide and conquer, you know what I mean? And so you're not ever stand divided before. So I went through all that shit. And basically, you know what I mean? I already had my, listen, I was in college when I got locked up. So like that, I won't be in my cell 24/7. Guess what? When I got locked up, I was 19. Listen, I stood 19, or I stood 20 years old, whatever. Yeah, it was 21, whatever. One of those 3 ages. I stood that age for at least about 9-10 years. Because every time I kept coming back to Rikers Island, because you gotta remember, once I got sentenced and shit to 13 years, you gotta do 85% of your time. So I already knew I had to do 10 and a half. You know, so that means I gotta do what I gotta do to survive. And as long as I don't get caught, you know what I mean? Because I wasn't trying to get my good time, and I'm gonna take it away. That's my shit. You know what I mean? So boom, I'm doing that. And I'm going back and forth to court, always going to the school floor. So what I used to do, you know what I mean, I used to take GED for people and shit like that, because in the school floor, it's like, in Rikers Island, like, listen, if you here on a fake name, so I used to tell them, listen, my real name was my fake name, and then give them somebody else's name, take their GED for them, and boom, that's how I used to get money and shit, right? So I used to do that shit. I used to go to the law library, help people out with their law library shit, you know what I mean? Help them beat their tickets, if it was a gang-related tickets, help them, you know what I mean, get connected with their children and shit like that. That was my two niches right there, you know what I mean? Dealing with the gang-related tickets and dealing with the fucking, you know what I mean, dealing with family law. Family and civil law, that was my two shit. Criminal shit was my shit, but you had too many people that was like, they was way better than me on that shit. So I was like, all right, they was charging hundreds of dollars. Anyway, make a long story short, you know what I mean, I don't want to get too caught up in that. So, did all that shit, Rikers Island, I'm 19 years old, you know what I mean, set in my mind, whatever. You know what I mean, when I got sentenced. I mean, at that time, you know, Rikers Island, HCN, from HCN, went to fucking OBCC, go to the Bacon. You know, at that time, you know, yeah, OBCC, it was known as, like, what they call, like, Blood House or Blood Building. You know what I mean? So, you know, when you're in Rikers Island, like, all right, this is the Blood Building, or this is that building. When they say it's that building, they don't mean, like, it means that's the majority of them. Is you have Bloods over there, but you still had Kings there, and Trinitarios there, you had Lions there, which is the main, that was the main street organizations inside Rikers Island at that time. You know what I mean? You had Kings, you had Bloods, you had a sprinkle of Crips. For adults, like I said, when I was adolescent, you had Mount Fall before Crip House. Now after that, you only seen like maybe like 1 or 2 Crip. That was about it. You know what I mean? So now as an adult, this is 1999. Same shit. It was like, it was still mostly Blood, Kings, Trinitarios, or Lions, or 5%ers. You know what I mean? Crips, you still didn't really see Crips like that. You know what I mean? Like 1 or 2 or 3. You know what I mean? I heard like later down the line, like somewhere in the 2000s, that's when they end up getting like a house, either in OBCC or in a Beacon or some shit like that. Not too sure. So I know I'm going back and forth to court. Now I'm saying from upstate, you know what I mean, to court. So I go through all that shit. Mind you, once I got sentenced, I'm in Clinton. Clinton was a grimy spot, you know what I mean? You got the Twinners on YouTube. He talks about all the different facilities. So I'm not even going to get into none of that. But it was a grimy spot. You know what I mean? I got caught up with some grimy shit too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a type of dude, like, you know what I mean? I believe in social justice. I'm fair, you know what I mean? So, make a long story short, one dude used to talk back. He used to speak, you know what I mean? Speak his piece. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with speaking his piece, but it was some whole bunch of other shit that they didn't tell me about. You know what I mean? But that's what they told me. That's what they want me to get at him, whatever. And the person that asked me to get at him, you know what I mean, was like a childhood friend. So to me, that nigga was a snake, you know what I mean? Because at the same time, I knew he was locked up, you know what I mean? Since he was a juvenile, even though I went home when I was 18, I got locked up when I was 19, right? And, but the thing is, I knew for a fact that he was locked up. You know what I mean? Or it was based on Spanish songs. It was like, 4 people that got locked up. They all fucked. One dude, you know what I mean? I don't know if he killed the cop or he attempted murder, one of those two. The cop was off duty. But then the 3 dudes snitched on one dude, you know what I mean? The one dude ended up doing 25 to life. And then the other 3 ended up getting like, light bids, like 5 to 15 or some shit like that. Or like 3 to 9, some shit like that, you know what I mean? And so it was that shit, you know what I mean? So anyway, you know what I mean? This snitch dude, you know what I mean? Fucking try to lie, say I hesitated, you know what I mean? Because say I didn't want to blast the dude. So I was like, nah, it wasn't that I didn't want to blast the dude. I was like, listen, you know what I mean? The bro needs a trial. Like, you know what I mean? The blood of a king is sacred, you know what I mean? So I'm like, listen, I'm not just going to blast the bro like that, you know what I mean? Just because you don't like when or he speaks his mind, like, nah, that's not a reason. Like, if you just show me like, yo, he's snitching, and you show me paperwork he's snitching, or you just show me that he got locked up for rape, those 2 things right there, no hesitation. He out of there, you know what I mean? But it wasn't that, so I didn't feel that shit was right, you know what I mean? So I was like, listen, man, the dude's afforded a trial, you know what I mean? Next you know, bam, I passed on the ox, me not knowing, bam, so I get blast. I realized, boom, homie already walked off, so I'm like, alright, I'm getting you, my nigga. Like, so boom. So, you know what I mean? It was a little bullshit blast or whatever. It wasn't like, the first one. So I'm tight now, so boom. So then I go to the other kings, like, yo, son, this nigga just blast me, son. Like, and I told him, like, yo, the other bro need a trial, and I lie, he did some grimy shit, like, so you try to see I hesitate. I'm like, nah, I ain't hesitating. I mean, I show you that you gotta go the right way, you know what I mean? So anyway, making a long story short, bam, I wanted to get that nigga, but yo, son, that bro, yo, he wasn't trying to be by himself whatsoever. You hear me? I was like, yo, just come out the crew. That I'm saying, like, you want to be surrounded by like 5 or 6 people, no matter where I see you at the yard. I'm like, my dude. So I'm like, all right. So now I'm trying to give me something. You know what I mean? So basically, everybody else didn't really want to like make that shit, grow bigger and bigger and bigger. So they're like, yo, nah, like they ain't really want to give me nothing. So I was tight. Nobody ain't want to give me nothing in the yard to get this nigga. So I'm like, damn. So boom, so I'm chilling like, fuck it, you know what I mean? I'm tight. I'm like, yo, this second time I got cut. And then by one of my own, then by a snitch ass nigga got that. So I was like, yo, I was tight. I was like, oh, he gonna try to cover his shit, whatever. So boom, make a long story short, yo, I was trying to see if they was gonna burn this cell out. So right there, he could come to me and I would have dealt with him right there in the IPC yard, you know what I mean? That was my shit. I never send people to do my shit for me. Like, nah. If anything, I was like, listen, yo, don't cut him, don't do nothing. My shit was send that motherfucker to me where I was at, because I was in IPC again. Once again, I was trying to get him, like, listen, I was like, no way, if I didn't get him in the yard, I was going to get him in the motherfucking cell block. So, I was trying to get back to my cell. And I got caught, you know what I mean? See, it was like, seen that, you know, I guess a little scratch or whatever. I couldn't get to cover everything. So boom, they stopped the fucking, you know what I mean, whatever, they stopped me. You know what I mean? So I had to play like I was stupid, like, oh shit, you got cut. Well, I ain't know. So I blame that shit on the fucking, I blame that shit on the fucking nail, you know what I mean? Because, you know, in Clinton, we could cook in the yard, you know what I mean? So I was like, yo, it must have been a nail that was on the door, and, you know, me working with the wood, that shit scratched me, and I didn't even know. And then I used the fact that, listen, if you see where I got cut the first time, me and dude was getting on right there and then. So basically, if I knew I would have got cut, which was true. If I knew right there and then, and boom. But the thing was, in my mind, I was like, listen, I got it on with the first person that coming, and he don't got a cut. So that's why the second time I was like, nah, I don't just want to fight. I want to go blood up, now I mean, we got to go gun and gun, or I want some bloodshed now, you know what I'm saying? So boom. So, you know, they sent me to the box and shit like that. Right, boom. Like, first I go from IPC, then I also get another ticket because, you know, they called one of my tickets and shit, because now I'm sending shit out. Nah, shit is, I'm sending tickets to like different jails. I mean, I'm sending letters to different jails, different states. Like, yo, this shit just went down. And I'm like, yo, it's between me and him. That's it. You know what I mean? So I get the okay for that. You know what I mean? Boom. They already know what's good, what's good. They got this shit in all the facilities, you know, like all different states. Bam, bam, bam. I know how to write. I know how to communicate. Bam. So next you know, when I get to Auburn, you know what I mean? Let me see. This is like probably 2000 right now. You know what I mean? Now I'm probably like 20 years old or some shit like that. Boom, my son is born. Boom, got that in my mind. I'm mumble. I just got sense, going through a lot of shit. So from Clinton, bam. You know what I mean? Went to the box. In the box. You know what I mean? In the box, it was it was me and Blood, do whatever. Boom. You know what I'm saying? He was good money and shit. Bam. Now I go to Auburn. I mean, see a few people. I let them know, like, so I'm tight what just happened in Clinton. So I'm like, listen, man, I'm still king, but I'm on some KMC shit. Like, right now, I ain't running with nobody until I find this dude. You know what I'm saying? It's just gonna be me and him. Not on some tribe shit, none of that. Just me and him. You know what I mean? So the other guy, matter of fact, come to the yard. So I ain't gonna lie, like, when he told me to come to the yard, I thought it was gonna go down the yard. Like, man, like, shit. Like, fuck. All right. Come to the yard, because that's the thing, man. Yo, them they give you a call out, you gotta come to the call outs, you know what I'm saying? Whether you outnumbered or not, whatever, like, because that shit follows you. But that was me. My shit, like, listen, man, I just gotta take care of what I gotta take care of. Let me address this shit. So I came to the yard. They heard the story. I gave them the piece. I showed them the paperwork. They see, you know what I mean? Boom. You know what I mean? Nas don't talk. Nas don't tell. They're like, all right, IPC. They see this shit, but boom. All right, cool. They seen what I got the ticket for. Bam. Like, all right, game related, whatever. Bam, cool, no doubt. So now they were like, nah. But they were like, listen, you know what I mean? They respected my KMC shit, but they was like, yo, you bloodline. They're like, you know, New York State's bloodline. You still rolling with us, lot of live. We ain't try to hear that shit. So it's like, no, I knew half of the people in there anyway, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, I was just tight about what just happened on the spot, you know what I mean? So even though what just happened on the spot, you know, it had to take me a while to get, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie, like, I ain't trust nobody still for like, you know, like probably at least the first few months and shit. You know, even though we breaking bread and all that, it took me a while, like, you know, all right, cool. Then once everything got cool, and not only that, every fucking mission there was, even if they ain't giving the mission, I volunteered for every fucking mission that there was for years, just to prove the motherfuckers, I don't hesitate. You know what I mean? Just to make a point, like, yo, this person put this shit out there, so I'm gonna show and prove everywhere I go that I'm not hesitating. So all that shit you said, hesitate? Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, you know why I ain't gonna blast that dude, I want him to get a trial. And if everybody would say, yo, it's justified to blast the dude, you know what I mean? Then so forth, so big, because, you know, the blood of the king's sake, it can't just cut a king just to cut a king. Come on, man. So, that's what it was, you know what I mean? Make a long story short, you know what I mean? Auburn was a good spot, too. One thing I like about Auburn is that, yo, you can't front. So a lot of them motherfucking gate monsters, you know, gate monsters, like people that talk shit, you know, let's say when you're in the box, you know what I mean? And you ain't gonna see them, or when you ain't keep locked. But once you go to Auburn, everything comes to the yard, you know what I mean? So even when you try to avoid bullshit, you still gonna have to come to that yard, though. You could be doing your college shit, you could be doing your church shit, your Muslim shit, whatever it is, whatever positive stuff you're doing, it's all beautiful, it's all good, but you still gotta come to that yard. You know what I mean? That's why I liked it about Auburn. Everybody gotta come to that yard, so it's like, you know what I mean? And and they had a lot of blind spots. So you would do shit, get away with, you know what I mean? That's one thing I liked about that spot. And that's why I just started doing my self-study, but, you know, because of these things, you know what I mean? Like, man, I was trying to do the positive stuff, like the Latino Unidos and all that. You know what I mean? Latino Unidos, 30 really had that shit, so they was blocking me from that shit, so I was like, yo, nah. So that, I mean, they ain't block all bros, but I felt I was being blocked, you know what I mean? That was just in my head, I wasn't being blocked. It was like, you know, you had to wait for certain people to leave the organization or wait for certain people to go home, pay the money, and then go on, whatever. Plus, I was going back and forth to court, you know what I mean? So that's why, you know what I mean? So from Auburn, you know what I mean, get caught up in some shit. There's a few shits happening. I'm not gonna go into all the stories in Auburn. I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? But I just been in man situations. You know what I mean? I showed up for every situation. You know what I'm saying? So got my level of respect there. You know what I mean? One dude we had, you know what I mean, we didn't see eye to eye because I'm not a doja, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. But listen, if I done put my neck out there for every single mission, and I'm letting you know I got a son out there, like, listen, ain't want to keep me away from my son. I'm like, yo, there's going to be issues, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be something between me and you, you know what I mean? So that's what it was. So, you know what I mean? It is what it is. You know what I mean? So they were like, once I spoke my piece, I was in the right. You know, other dude ain't like that shit, whatever. He caught feelings behind it, whatever. You know what I mean? And then, still in that jail, still holding it down. Then from there, you know, I think they sent me out to jail before the next pop off, because I was in that jail for like 2 lockdowns. I mean, one lockdown was when the Bloods popped off on the police. The first lockdown was when the Outlaws popped off on the police. The second lockdown was when the Bloods popped off on the police. You know what I'm saying? And I left, when I left Auburn, that's when I went to Easton. Then when I went to Easton, you know, that's when, you know, they was like, yo, you only your ox in this prison. So then I got rid of my ox. When I got rid of my ox, I felt I was getting tested, you know what I mean? I was like, oh, I got rid of my ox. Then you know the barber one, like tried to test me, so I wanted to blast the barber. You know what I mean? They was like, nah, you wild, like you supposed to pay for your haircuts, like every 2 haircuts is a pack. So I was like, oh, word, I thought you was trying to play me, you know what I mean? So like I wanted to blast the dude. Because that's what you gotta do in all the other prisons, you know what I mean? So Easton was a facility whereas that was the first time I seen Latin Kings like doing a lot of positive shit, I ain't gonna lie, to be honest. It was more than just regular politics. That was the first time I seen Latin Kings like doing like as going to college. You know what I mean? First time ever I was like seeing Latin Kings going to college. They had Bard College in Easton. And that's when I seen Latin Kings as escorts. It was escorting the blind people around the facility. I seen Latin Kings as sign language translators. Like they was translators for the people who was mute. You know what I mean? They were signing. Then I seen Latin Kings that was like on some acting stuff because they had drama class. They had poetry. You know what I mean? I had so many different things in that jail, you know what I mean? So Easton was like an honor jail, honor prison within New York State. When I got there, they was just changing it. Like they was trying to take, cause the one who was like the warden, he left, and then the DEPA program, he left. They put a new administration, so the new administration wasn't feeling a lot of this positive, productive shit. So they was gonna take out little by little, but they couldn't. You know what I mean? They kept mostly everything there. College. They have college. In Easton, you have college, you have tackle football, you got basketball. You know what I mean? And then they have outside organizations coming in, because over there, I make sure, because let me see, in Auburn, only positive I was able to do in Auburn was go to Nature to Visit on Prison Reform Ministry. You know what I mean? That's why I was getting my little set, you know what I mean, side studies on and shit. But now, once I got to Easton, you know what I mean, still king and all that, boom, NOI Prison Reform Ministry, so I'm doing that. And then now I start learning about these different programs, like yo, to prepare you to become a counselor, prepare you to become a social worker, or whatever it is when you come home. So now I'm like, fuck. That's when I became like, a HIV and AIDS peer educator in Easton. That's when I became a alternative to violence program facilitator in Easton. That's when I became as I got into my poetry shit in Easton. That's when I got with the Latino Unidos. But I still ain't give it the Latino Unidos, but I was like, you know what? We had it in a way, like, because then I also worked in the mental too, so we had it in a way whereas, somehow, I'm going to be in, watch this, because I told her to do, like, listen, I work in the mental, and I did it too. Mad times, like, come on, you know what that is? Because if you get caught as being out of place and all that shit, like, I was like, fuck that shit. Like, listen, y'all watching the movie? I'm gonna watch a movie. Like, fuck that. Yeah, Latino movies ain't playing me. You know what I'm saying? So, now I mean, I used to get. Now I mean, now, of course, the way it's supposed to. At first, I was doing that free before I started doing the right way. Like, you know what? I pay for the ticket, I buy the food, get the ticket, go to the movies. But at first, I was like, yo, nah. So I kept sneaking in there every event. I kept sneaking in the event like, fuck that, I'm gonna be here whether y'all, I'm in the Latino news or not. I'm gonna be watching this movie. Like, So they had me the dude that was running this shit. We talked. And then, you know what I mean, talked to one of the bros, and that was in there. It was a good spot, though. I ain't gonna lie, it was a good spot. I ain't getting no drum. I wanted to, when I first got there, you know what I mean, behind the haircut shit, but other than that, you know what I mean, I didn't get no, there was no drama in that spot. So that's where my classification dropped. And that's when I started doing all the positive shit. And then from the Eastern Correctional Facility, that's when I was sent to Arthur Kill. Arthur Kill, that's where, you know what I mean, that's a go home spot. At the same time, to me, that was a snake spot. You know what I mean? Because that's a go home spot. You know what I mean? So you had people that, you know what I mean, dropping slips on people. You had 3 people that fucking signing on me and shit. I mean, all type of bullshit. But over there, they ain't really have programs. So what we had to do, we had to bring programs into the facility. So I was part of that. You know what I mean? I was part of all the Kill debate team. You know what I mean? And they knew I was king, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I was doing a lot of productive things, and I was helping a lot of brothers do productive things as well too, like helping them get their GED, helping them get reconnected with their family. You know what I mean? They see I was doing a lot of positive things, and not only that, now I was part of Latinos in Progress. You know what I mean? I was a secretary for Latinos in Progress. You know what I mean? And then, you know, I went to the ministry program, and that's where I got the ministry in human services from Rising Hope. And, you know, I was doing a lot of positive productive things. So now they're like, you know what? They know I'm king and shit, but they see that I'm doing positive things and I'm helping other kings do positive things. And of course, you know, whenever there's drama, yo, listen, you gotta take care of what you gotta take care of. But with me, yo, I never tell, yo, listen, one thing for certain, one thing for sure, 2 things for certain. Because I never knew, right? I mean, listen, man, I done held every position except third, right? But, and the reason being, because I was always concerned with, yo, if there's a federal sweep, there's a RICO law, you never know if someone's gonna snitch or whatever. And I used to always be like this, yo. There's not gonna be one person on this fucking earth that's ever gonna say that I told him to do something. Nah. Like, you're not gonna be like saying, oh, he told me to cut him or he told me to stab him. Nah, the only thing you can say is, I just told you to take care of it. That's it. Whether you could talk to the individual, you could cut him, you could stab him, you could fight him, whatever it is. Just, you gotta take care of it. That's it. That's the way I used to do shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's up to you, whatever you wanna do, but you just gotta address the issue. You know what I mean? And that's the way I used to carry myself, and that's why, you know, no brother could ever say, I told him to do this, I told him to do that. I'd be like, yo, this the person that's, you know what I mean, in the hit list, you gotta go. You know what I mean? Right now, you know, 'cause that's how it goes. Like, each person gotta put that work in, you know what I mean? Even sometimes, you know, like, if you ain't putting work in a long time, and I mean, if you have your own individual problem, that's one thing. You know, you have collective issues and individual issues. Majority of my drama was based on somebody else's shit. Now, I mean, barely was my own personal shit, especially as an adult. Like, nah. As adolescents, but adult, nah. I mean, 'cause no one, I mean, try to restore me. No one try to take my shit. None of that. You know what I mean? No one try to, push up on me. Not even as an adult. Crazy. I remember one time when, like, as an adult, 'cause, you know, I used to ask people for hot water. I had a hot pot, whatever. So this dude, out of his kind of heart, he gave me a hot pot, a brand new hot pot. And he didn't want nothing back. But I thought he was a booty bandit. So as soon as I went to the yard, boom, I was like, yo, let me get a shank. They're like, wow. I'm like, yo, this dude gave me a hot pot. I'm about to shank him up. They're like, nah, yo, he's good money. He's not a booty bandit. He was good. It's all right. Same thing someone else did something similar too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I ain't had shit, so I asked him, like, yo, because he had a store. You know what I mean? This thing called juggling, you know what I mean? So before I went to the actual store, before I got my property, back when I came back, you know, from the box and shit like that, you know, they have your property, all your shit, or when you keep out, they have all your shit, because you lost the privileges, then when you get your privileges back, they give you your shit. And, so I was like, oh, listen, before I get my property, like, you know, I ain't get my property back yet, so let me just get a pack of cigarettes, let me just get a pack of coffee, a creamer, a sugar. When I get my shit, I'm gonna give it back to you. If you need double, I'll give it back to you, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But then he gave me some extra shit I ain't asked for, like some honey buns, some extra shit. I was gonna stab that nigga. I was like, honey bun? I ain't asked for no honey bun. I ain't asked for no cakes or none of that shit. So I took that shit, whoa, real serious. And I went to the yard, same shit with him. I'm like, yo, cause you understand, Auburn, like they had a spot, you know what I mean, where the fucking booty bandits is at, you know what I mean? So boom. So I was like, all right, listen, I'm gonna go right into that booty bandit spot, you know what I mean? You stab niggas up, you know what I mean? So boom. They was like, nah, I mean, yo, he good. So the two people that looked out for me in prison, they was never in the booty bandit spot. I mean, they wasn't booty bandits. I just thought that was, you know what I'm saying? So that's how I said to the grace of God, you know what I mean? None of that shit happened, you know what I mean? Not knowing that's just how it go. Like, if that shit do happen, you just gotta do what you gotta do. You just gotta put that work in. You know what I mean? And let me see, after that, yeah, all the kills, so I did all that other kill shit, you know, like I said, positive and productive. I was always doing, I mean, try to get some programs in. Like I said, you know, I was the debate team. You know, we helped get the college in there. And I was also helping get the college into other prisons in other states, like in Jersey. You know what I mean? So, you know, I used to work with other reverends and ministers that help a lot of people who are in prison. Cause a lot of these programs are actually that's in prisons. You know what I mean? Is like Christian run. You know what I mean? Or NOI. You know what I mean? NOI or Christian is the only ones that do a lot of volunteer programs, to be honest. And then you have your Quakers, which is the AVP, Alternatives to Violence program. You know what I mean? They got college in prison now, but it's not coming from the state. It's coming from private, you know, philanthropists. You know what I mean? So, for example, you know, in Sing Sing, you could get a master's degree. I think you could get a bachelor's degree in Sing Sing. But in Sing Sing, that's not a sweet facility. A lot of shit's popping off in that facility. You know what I mean? You know, that's a drug spot. You know, you can smoke there, you can drink there, all type of shit like that. You could be in a fucking movie theater, smoking your blunt, all that shit like that in prison, straight up like that. You know what I mean? But they say Sing Sing is it's like Rikers Island, like being in the street type shit. You know what I mean? But better, something like that. That's what I heard. But they never let me go to. I was trying to go to Sing Sing, but they never let me go to Sing Sing. Like I was trying to go to Sing Sing for the whole bid. You know what I mean? But they didn't let me go. Knowing that Sing Sing is right there. You know what I mean? Like close to the city and shit. Knowing that two people that signed it on me went to Sing Sing, so that's why I couldn't go to Sing Sing. So that's the reason I couldn't go to that facility in Easton. Easton had Ball College, so I took the college prep program. I passed the college prep program, and then when I was supposed to get into the college, my classification dropped. Cause I'm not getting in this shit no more, right? And then, you know, they sent me to a medium. I was so tight. Cause like, you know, if I came home with my degree, that should have been much easier to function out here, you know what I mean? But, you know, that's the system. I mean, they know who won there, who's gonna come back. They know who's not gonna come back if they have certain things or whatever. That's just how they operate. So, you know, it was, I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean? So we brought the college back in, and then like I said, 2010, release. You know what I mean? And, you know, been home since 2010 and 2021. You know, and, you know, I've been trying to get my college degree ever since. You know, I've been to Nyack College, it's a Christian college. I was trying to get my social work there. They acknowledged my theology certificate in ministry and human services, but then my GPA went down due to that stupid K2 shit. You know what I mean? And then from there, had to go to some other program. I did some SUNY program. That's where I got my electronic health record shit, but then due to this fucking COVID-19 social distancing bullshit, lost that certification. But I went back to college, went to Lehman College for social work. They were a whole bunch of foolishness over there, some dumb shit there, you know what I mean? I ain't even getting caught up in that. But, you know, I was trying to go to Lehman for my social work. You know what I mean? That foolishness, you know what I mean, drove me out of there, but I'm gonna get back, I'm bouncing back into the college shit. So now, you know, I'm still in college, but I ain't take classes. And I'm trying to do my paralegal shit. Definitely gonna get my degree. Pa'lante, siempre pa'lante. And, you know, it's all about nobility, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I still, you know what I mean, fucks with the kings, hard body. You know what I'm saying? Kings and queens, hard body. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You know what I mean? I'm not strict. You know what I mean? I'm not, you know what I'm saying? It's a difference. I don't know how you say it is in English, but in Spanish it's like this, right? You have retirado and you have quitado. So for me, yo soy retirado. Yo no soy quitado. You know what I mean? Like, I retired, never dropped my crown, B. I retired, but I never dropped my crown. There's a difference, you know what I mean? Retired and just dropping it. Knowledge, never dropped it. Knowledge just retired, became ancient, deaning, and then guess what? Noble Yolo's Party, even though Noble Yolo's Party being established in 2001, I just felt it's a beautiful, it's a beautiful segue. I'm here in society. I'm 41 years old. You know what I mean? I'm not in the primitive stage. You know what I mean? Did the mummy stage. Now it's all political. It's all social, economic, political. It's about stopping brothers and sisters from making the same mistakes we did as youngins, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Stopping them from, you know what I mean, doing the same mistakes, getting locked up. And for those who are kids, having kids, you know what I mean? Try to help them get their shit, like, you know, get the GED, get a skill, get the apartment, you know what I mean? Focus on shit that really matters, because at the end of the day, it's like, listen, if you have a kid, a child, fuck a kid, man. Listen, a kid is a baby goat, you know what I mean? We don't got kids, we got children, you know what I mean? That's why I even saying, like, oh, think of the words that we use, like yo, this is my crib. You're a grown ass man talking about you in a crib. That means you're grown, but mentally you're a child. That's where that comes from. A crib. I don't got a crib. I have an apartment. It's just like when you say, you know, when you have your woman calling you baby, like, no, I'm a fucking man. I'm a king. I'm a noble lord. Like, what's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? I'm not a baby, but I understand the slang and all that shit. And then, you know, we supposed to call them ma, or they supposed to call her pa. Like, where all this shit come from? All this shit comes from Freud. Sigmund Freud, I think that's his name is, Sigmund Freud, is the one that came with that psychology bullshit. Because there's 3 different levels of psychology that they say how the mind is made up when it comes from a kid and older. And, you know, he has a whole bunch of sick psychology shit. I mean, for real. Like, when it came to psychology, I used to always read up on Naim Akbar. Like, for Skinner, for Freud, I didn't really start getting to them until I already was in college. I mean, that's when I had no choice but to read up on them. You know what I mean? And learn about Plato and all other good shit like that. You know, that's when you can learn about politics and stuff like that. You know, so, yeah, that's what it is, man. So that's what it's about. You know what I mean? Nobody knows what party. It's about, you know what I mean? We still fighting for the independence of Puerto Rico. We still fighting for more sovereign rights for Boricuas in Puerto Rico and over here in the United States. You know what I mean? We still stand in solidarity for those who are Chicanos. You know what I'm saying? Free Ashland for those that are in the Southwest. You know what I mean? For those that's in the East or anywhere West. You know what I mean? Because, you know, like, even in Chi-Town, you know, north side is Boricua, south side is Little Village. You know what I mean? As Chicano, Mexicanos, you know what I'm saying? So, we all Latinos at the end of the day. You know what I mean? We all brown pride at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? And it's all about moving forward. You know what I mean? Like, taking it back to the essence. Like, it's 2021. We already see the feds ain't playing. We already see that, you know, they already getting rid of abolishing parole for most places. So that's why they're giving straight bids, like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And then you have a little, like, come home good time, 1.5 years, 2 years before your expected earliest release date. That's the parole board you go to, you know what I mean? So that's why they trying to abolish the parole board. You know what I mean? Make people just do straight bids. And we ain't have it like that, you know what I mean? Sometimes it gets dangerous, sometimes don't. Depends on the state, depends on who's there, depending on the climate. So that's what it's about, you know what I mean? It's about, you know what I mean, stopping the pipeline to prison. I mean, it's about being noble, being humble, and finding different streams of income. You know what I mean? Because now, like I said, listen, the lion got to eat, right? Lion gotta take care of his pride, but it's how you go about doing it. You know what I mean? And we already see where all this shit, leads to when you do all the dumb shit. You know what I mean? Society, you know what I mean? Listen, man, it's a cheesy eating culture. That's why I see out here. You know what I mean? I ain't with that culture. I can't co-sign that culture. You know what I mean? But you have that out here. And that's why when it says crime, no vale la pena. You know what I mean? You got people that's in crime that when they get caught, they can't hold water and they turn on other people just so they can stay out and all that other shit like that. Like, shit no vale la pena, man. Like, nowadays, 2021, there's other ways to get money, man. You can come up with your small business, come up with a non-profit organization. If you have a skill from prison, you know what I mean? Yo, become a hustler, yo. You could be a fucking handyman. You could be a home installation, whatever, a home repairman. Your small business, you charge your own shit, whatever. Do that shit on the side. You know what I mean? If you know how to cook, you could have your small business on the side. Like, I mean, so many different things is out there, you know what I mean? But it's called small business, it's called entrepreneurship, but never forget about the politics. It's always political. You know what I mean? Right now, shit is very serious when it comes to congressional districts here in the United States, especially where they got Boricuas living at. They about to start changing districts, so that might affect a lot of things in Boricua neighborhoods here in New York, in Chicago, in Philly, New Jersey. They just had a special over there at the Center of Puerto Rican Studies. It's located at the Hunter College right there on 118th Street, 3rd Avenue. or you could just, you know what I mean, Google it. You know what I mean, look up Center for Puerto Rican Studies, Hunter College, and you'll see what they're talking about. You know what I mean? A lot of our shit is at risk. You know what I mean? A lot of people's not paying attention to politics. A lot of people's not, I mean, only thing they pay attention to is whatever comes to them in the news, whatever comes to them in the newspaper. But when it comes to other shit, they're not gonna talk about that in the regular news. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? So if you wanna know about Boricua politics, Latino politics, you're gonna have to step outside the norm. You know what I mean? The only place you're gonna get that from is like, let's say, Center for Puerto Rican Studies. You're gonna get that information from there. You wanna know about Dominicans? You're gonna get that from Center of Dominican Studies. You know what I mean? That's over there in the Heights. You know? So we have the Center of Puerto Rican Studies here in Spanish Harlem, and you have the Center of Dominican Studies over there in Washington Heights. All right? That's where you want to find out what's going on when it comes to those two. And then in your other news outlets, you have Democracy Now! And then you have NPR, National Public Radio. And then you have Public Access Radio. And then, of course, you have WBAI. Much salute to that station, WBAI. And then your newsletters, you have your Under Lock and Key that's produced by Myris International Ministry of Prisons. And then you have Prison Legal News. You have Fortune News, which is produced by Fortune Society. Those are news articles that you should be reading. And also the People Voice News. You know what I mean? That's another one. You know, the community, the Communist Party of Puerto Rico has a newspaper called Abayarde Rojo. You know what I mean? Spanish and English. You know, the Communist Party of USA have their website as well too, their own news stations and all that. You got to think outside the box in order to find out what's really going on. You know what I mean? Don't just find out at the end. Like let's say what happened in January 6th. They've been having conspiracy theories about that shit for the longest. You know what I mean? They've been talking about showing mad different movies that this shit was going to happen sooner or later. And shit is not over. You know what I mean? You know, there's still a battle between fascism and imperialism and capitalism against socialism, basically. That's what they call welfare social programs, affirmative action social programs. They call all that socialism, but guess what? It's the time to be socialist because that capitalism just creates more inequality, and that's imperialism. Down with imperialism. Straight like that. So socialism is to bring about new democracy. Then you have social democracy, which social democracy is not the same as socialism to bring about new democracy. It's not the same. Social democracy is using the same system, and only a few is going to do good, and that's the petty bourgeoisie. You know what I mean? That's the people that's in power, the congressional power that been there forever, like Daniel Velázquez, Cortez, much respect to them too. And then you have others that's doing their thing, but they might get their little perks. And then the mass majority, we still got to go through what we got to go through. And that's why I say every politician has to address the 13th Amendment. Every politician has to address formerly incarceration. Every politician has to address how they're going to deal with street organization, because that's what you have in majority of black and brown neighborhoods. People who are part of street organizations and people who have been incarcerated or formerly incarcerated, and that's the caste system. So for all these politicians, whether it's a council lady or whether it's a Congress lady or assembly person, that's what they need to address. Formerly incarcerated, well, so far, Obama already did that. He abandoned the box, right? They can't ask you whether you've been arrested or locked up before unless they're going to give you a job interview, right? Beautiful thing. Same thing for housing. Thanks to President Obama. Boom, you come home from prison, they got to give you at least 2 years on probation to go into housing. You know what I mean? If you don't get in trouble within 2 years of that probation process, boom, you can stay in housing and shit like that. That was done thanks to Obama. Prior to that, they've been discriminating against anyone who's formerly incarcerated to come back into housing. But NYCHA still has its rules, you know what I mean? Like, if you ever have an arson or sex offender, you're banned from housing, period, in New York State. Right? Or if you committed a crime while you're housing grounds, then you gotta go to that special process shit. But if you ain't commit your crime on housing grounds, it's much easier to get back into housing. That's for New York State, you know what I mean? What else? That's about it. All right, so, yeah, that's about it. I addressed that. So right now, like I said, Nobody Almost Party, man. My name is Malik Alim, a.k.a. Knowledge. You know what I mean? Much love to the brothers and sisters out there. Comrade salute, revolutionary love. You know what I mean? Stay shining. You know what I mean? Positive evaluation always causes elevation. Positive education always causes errors. It's always about elevation, not stagnation. You know what I mean? Like they say, action speaks louder than words. That's what it's about, man. It's about nobility, man. It's about humility. You know what I mean? It's about changing the gangster mentality and making it into a revolutionary. You know what I mean? Thinking about our future, which is our children and our grandchildren. And a lot of shit is changing. A lot of political climate is changing. And we can't lose track on that. You know what I mean? It's about fighting for our rights, right? Self-determination and for our community, making sure where we at. That's where we at now. You know what I mean? It's making sure fascism don't take hold within these political governments. You know what I mean? Whether it's local or whether it's state or federal, making sure there's no fascists up in there. But you're always gonna have your white supremacist, imperialist, institutional racist rules, and that's what we're always gonna go against. You know what I mean? So with that said, assalamu alaikum. All right, to all my brothers and sisters. All right, comrade salute, revolutionary love, and 423 from the veterans lane. You heard? You know what I mean? Because I see y'all. I see the likes, you know what I mean? Thanks for the love. I see, the crown's up. Thanks for the love, you know what I mean? 423 from the veterans lane, you know what I mean? Because I am now active when it comes to the nation and active as Noble Young's party. And it's about nobility and political. If y'all know the stages, it's a new king thing, you heard? So, and that's it. I'm not going to get too much into none of that because I don't do that. You heard? But they have other, brothers that's on YouTube, other twins on YouTube, and they giving it love. Like, go to Lions and Men. Go to Lions and Men. Yo, I recommend you go to Lions Man, and he'll tell you how it was, you know what I mean, the 90s, the 2000s, tell you how to survive, all that, things you had to go through. I can relate to him, you know what I mean? As another brother named K Solo, I can relate to some of his shit. He's older than me, so he was, you know what I mean, he's talking about the 80s era, so that's before my era. Now you have, different eras. That's all it is. You know what I mean? So, comrade salute, revolutionary love. Assalamu alaikum. Pa'lante, siempre pa'lante. Power to the people, you heard? Power to all oppressed people. Peace.